Down out. What's up, everybody? You are tuned into the best of the Elks Call Season 2. I'm your host, Scout, aka the Rep from Section X, and we can't thank you enough for tuning into our show. Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and favorite buttons, as your support means everything to us here at the Elks Herd and Shotgun Sports Network. All right, today we're going to give you the best of Shotgun Sports. This episode is brought to you by Royal Retros. Save 10% off on CFLPA merchandise, throwback jerseys, and more with code Shotgun Sports. All caps, no spaces. Once again, that's royalretros.com is the site where you're going to place your order. They are the throwback kings. All right, so best of Shotgun Sports Network here at SSN. We have many CFL and football fans that host shows or create content for one or many pages, really. We have quite a few over here at SSN. Outside of the shows, we all keep tabs on each other's teams, and sometimes our favorite teams even play against each other. This episode will feature Ryan Messer of Shotgun Sports Alabama, Jason Basic of Stampeders Roundup, formerly known as Puck and Pigskin, Joe Pritchard of Rouge, White, and Blue podcast, and the Winnipeg Terminal, and Clay Chisholm of the incoming Argos Fancast, new on Shotgun Sports Network in 2025. We'll give you some more details about that later, but without further ado, here are the best conversations of the year from the Elks Call. And today we are joined by sports journalist for Shotgun Sports Network Alabama and the Stallion Stampede. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, Ryan Messer. Ryan, 110 degrees Fahrenheit and super humid. That weather simply does not compute for at least one of us, if not both.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal out here right now, down here.
Yeah, like I couldn't even imagine. And is that just dry heat?
No, like he said, it 49% humidity. So
that's even
yeah.
worse.
Been down to Tennessee once. That humidity, I know what it feels like. It slaps you in the face as soon as you leave air conditioning. So, yeah, man. I mean, might as well stay cool inside of the place and chat with the Elks Herd. Thanks a lot, man, for joining us today. We're going to go ahead and dig into this show in a moment, but first, we'd like to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. Daryl, we see you in the herd chat. Good evening. Whether you're watching on YouTube, which is one of the best spots to watch it, at Shotgun Sports Network, or on Facebook, which would be at the Elks Herd, or if you're listening on TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Edmonton Sports Talk, or wherever you get your podcast. While we're here, if you could hit the like and subscribe, we would greatly appreciate it. Today's lineup for another stack show is as follows. We're going to open up with The More You Didn't Know with Ryan Messer. Next, we'll give you Kathy's Herd Report, talking about the latest Edmonton Elks transactions and news. Following that, we'll give you an Edmonton sports update, and then we're going to cap the show with the Fan Forum, where we discuss hot topics surrounding the Elks, the CFL, and the sports world as a whole. Be sure to blow up the herd chat so you can get your comments and questions onto the show. But let's kick it off with The More You Didn't Know, brought to you by the Winnipeg Terminal. Catch the flight with Mike and Joe every week, talking all things Jets and Bombers on Shotgun Sports Network. What's up? All right, let's talk to Ryan about the Elks, the Stallions, and even some other Birmingham sports. Once again, if you have questions or comments, be sure to get them into the herd chat, and we will get them onto the show. Ryan, it's been a bit since you've been on the Elks Call. Since then, the Birmingham Stallions have secured a three-peat championship. Man, what was it like covering the team from the sidelines during a championship season?
It was awesome, guys. You know, this is the second season that we've actually covered credentialed. We've covered them all 3 seasons of the Stallions, all 3 championship seasons. So it's been great. It was amazing to be able to talk to these guys and get one-on-one with these guys, because the whole team is just so down to earth and all that. So they're really cool guys. So you can see why they work well together.
That's awesome. What would you say that your favorite Stallions moment would be for this season?
Being able to be at the championship and be down there with the guys celebrating and all of that, because last year it was up in Canton. Didn't have the chance to get in there and actually get up there to the championship game the past 2 years. So luckily I was able to get up there to St. Louis and celebrate with those guys.
Well, and you had seen a couple of championships already, right? But this was your first championship game in person.
Right. I wasn't able to go. Like I said, I wasn't able to go to Canton the first 2 years, but I was actually had the opportunity to go to St. Louis this year to the championship game. So I was stoked for it.
How would a championship game be different than the Grey Cup, or similar than the Grey Cup?
Well, the Grey Cup technically may be a bit bigger, right?
Yeah.
For attendance, like they hosted it. How many? Like, what's the attendance? What's the capacity versus the attendance? Would you say for that St. Louis championship?
It was rough, honestly. The first two, I think they were pretty much at capacity at the Hall of Fame Stadium there in Canton, Ohio, and I really don't want to say. I'm not sure what the numbers were for that game, but because they sold so many tickets, they go by sold tickets instead of people in seats. And there were so many seats that were sold, but people never showed up because there were a lot of people anticipating the Battlehawks the St. Louis Battlehawks to be in the championship, but they didn't.
Which they were getting like 30,000
right
regular attendances during
right. They set the spring football season like record for like 36,000 people. So
yeah, see, so yeah, they were hitting records. They were hitting benchmarks.
Right.
And remember, I told you about this behind the scenes. Just like you'll have BC Lions fans buying those tickets up for the Grey Cup coming up in Vancouver. And as soon as Vancouver gets ousted, if they get ousted from the playoffs, the stock on that ticket, all of a sudden everybody's
selling them. Yeah. That's interesting. That's interesting to hear that, even though you're getting such big numbers for regular attendance, that the championship game wasn't necessarily the best. But I mean,
but it was for Ryan.
Yeah, it sure was.
Oh, three-peat championship at that, right? You don't get to see that kind of feat very often. Luckily, we got to see that with the IFAF Team Canada U20 team. To get to see any sort of three-peat is a little bit magical as a sports fan. So for you to be able to go down, and I believe I saw some pictures there on Facebook, Ryan, where you and your family actually got to go down and take pictures with the trophy.
Yes, we actually had the opportunity to go down on the field. I talked to a couple of players, got a couple quick interviews, not anything recorded, but just some talking points to share with the folks, the fans and stuff. And got some really good pictures of some of the players. But the best part was being able to get up there and let's just say that stage was pretty sticky after the champagne bath. It was, but it was great. It was fun.
Did you touch the trophy?
I didn't touch it.
See, that's a scout thing. Every single trophy that he comes across, he has to touch it, even if he gets in trouble for it.
Yeah. That Lombardi, right? I even told you about that one right away, Ryan. I had to. But getting back to the Stallions, which players do you think have the best chance of making an NFL roster this year?
Well, we've already had a lot already signed. Adrian Martinez already went to the Jets, which I was really surprised about at first because he's probably, Aaron Rodgers, he's probably not going to get, but it is a smart move for him in a development way, because you're training up under that quarterback room right now is stacked. So you got arguably one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, even though I cannot stand him. But he is a very talented quarterback. So
cool. I mean, yeah, I
Aaron
guess
Rodgers.
we're biased, but yes, that's really good.
we had a few people with the Commanders already. Kevin Austin, I believe, went to the New Orleans Saints. Ricky Person went up to Seattle Seahawks. So we've had a lot of people already. And Kevin Austin down in the St. Louis or the New Orleans Saints, he's been I've seen some camp videos, and he's been really showing out. So
okay, so that's maybe who has the best chance of making actually making the roster, not just a practice roster or fringe player, right?
Right.
Yeah, scouts are busy.
Yeah,
all over the States and here in Canada. But I mean, talking about that, at this moment, which league would you say is the better league? Feeder league, the better NFL feeder league. That's the question. The UFL or the CFL?
I'm that's going to be hard, because I'm trying to not to be a homer here, but honestly, in different ways, each one has their own pool, but with the location of the people, the players already being here in the United States, not having to go back and forth, I think the efficiency wise it'd be here. Talent wise, I think you guys got a little bit better talent, but you guys are also paying the players a lot better than what the UFL are playing.
yeah.
So that's one thing, and they're more willing to stay with the CFL as opposed to going to an NFL team and sitting maybe on a second string, role.
That's true.
Yeah, that is very true. Now, you've been watching the Edmonton Elks. I know that you've been watching. You've even caught our frowning faces on TSN once or twice here. So we got to know, what do you think are the problem areas for this Edmonton Elks team? What stands out to you?
Originally, I kept saying offensive line, because my belief, I'm born and bred here in Alabama. As you can see, I've got some Alabama football helmets behind me. It's all about the games being won and lost in the trenches. Defenses win championships. The offensive line, if you don't have a good offensive line, then you have nothing protecting your quarterback, and there you go. But I kind of saw a shift with that, with the switch over to Trey Ford, where it seemed like they held a little bit better. So, and it all goes into the chemistry with the offensive line to the quarterback. So that deals a lot into it.
And I know that you were fortunate enough to meet McLeod Bethel Thompson last year. I mean, just playing off of that, what you've said, what's your thoughts on his rocky start here for his CFL return?
I'm not sure, honestly, because MBT is a really good leader, because with the New Orleans Breakers, him and Coach DiFilippo, both, Coach DiFilippo came in on the first game on crutches. He had an issue with his foot, an injury with his foot, and he told the team, look, I'm going to get out there and I'm going to walk across this football field. And that kind of fired those guys up a little bit. But MBT was also a really strong leader, and he really put that team on his shoulders and really led that team to, because I think they started out 0-2, 0-3. No, yeah. But it was really rough the first couple games that they played because it was the chemistry wasn't there. But then they really bonded and really pulled through and wound up playing Birmingham for the Southern League division title. So,
well, that's crazy. So he was in a bit of that flip side of it. He was basically where Trey Ford is now, right? Coming for
right.
rally the guys around, and that was one of our favorite features about MBT going into this season. He's a leader. He lets you. He gives you those vibes when you hear him speak. He's a leader. He's somebody that leads, right? So there's been some speculation that his leadership, mentorship, in that sense, has been helping Trey Ford in his development.
Would you say maybe that he's just past his playing prime and he's more suited for a coaching kind of, mentorship position instead of actually being on the field because he might just be a little over that?
Another thing is different people have different leadership styles. And maybe MBT's leadership style is a little different than Trey Ford's. So maybe that could have been the thing. And they've, this offensive line has got a lot more chemistry with Trey Ford than they do MBT. So that's another big thing. So the chemistry is the key. We saw that a lot with the Stallions. I mean, with them going back and forth between the two quarterbacks, we saw that the chemistry was better with Adrian Martinez. But, the chemistry has to be there.
That's interesting because I remember watching so many games. Matt Corral comes in, they seem to be struggling, and then all of a sudden Adrian Martinez comes in and he can pull off the wins. And I remember that watching the UFL Stallions this year, right? So I guess what the question is now, Ryan, is if you're the GM of the Elks, what do you do with MBT now that Ford has the starting role? Would you trade him, or would you keep him on the roster to support Trey in a mentorship role? Like, what do you do with that now?
Honestly, I would keep him because honestly, he does have the mentorship. He already has a little bit of chemistry with the team. He is mentoring. Let him keep building that chemistry because, look, you don't know what's going to happen throughout the rest of the season. Trey Ford could get injured. I hope he doesn't. But if it does, you've got MBT that already has that experience and that chemistry with the team to where with the receivers and the backs and all that to where he can actually get in and actually play with confidence.
No, that's fair.
I agree. And I mean, the reality is that we are paying him a pretty penny. And if we should definitely get our bang for our buck, whether that is on the field, if that's not the way that it's going, because unfortunately, maybe, Trey Ford is a better fit at this point in time. That doesn't mean that he's still not needed for a lot of his knowledge, a lot of his expertise, a lot of the things that he does bring to the team that perhaps maybe just a little outside of playing in the field, right?
Oh, totally. You're spending that $500K no matter what, right?
Yes.
And I guess at this point you're spending in Trey's development, which they should have done for the last couple of years anyways. And in the herd chat, John is checking in from Rogers Place watching Team Canada at the Holinka Gretzky Cup, and Elks for the win Sunday, baby. What's your prediction, Ryan, for the game on Sunday?
I don't want to jinx it. I hope you guys win because I would love to see just a Cinderella comeback story for the Elks this season. Come back from behind, but it would be it's gonna be a long haul for you guys because a lot of people are going to come in. Who knows? A lot of people may come into these games thinking, overly confident, and you guys can show them out. So, but most of the games you guys have lost, it's been by single scores. So,
yeah,
so it's like
two. I'm pretty sure all but two were single scores,
Yeah.
if not one.
Doable.
Only one. And then on top of that, Vernon Adams Jr. is injured.
Right.
So he will not be returning at starting quarterback. It will be Jake Dolegala this weekend, I believe.
Yeah.
So they're on their backup quarterback. I see that they have quite a few injuries. The injury bug is going around the CFL.
Yeah,
It's
starting
mid-season form, right? And injuries are in their mid-season form. Go figure. And luckily, the Edmonton Elks are one of few teams that don't have it too bad. We had it bad a couple weeks ago. Our defensive line was absolutely shredded, right?
Yep. Nope. We'll see. We'll see what happens on that one. But I think, I do agree that there's going to be one or the other. Either people are going to be, other teams are going to be too overly confident and going to come in and start making mistakes, or they're really going to be prepared for Trey Ford, because now they see him as a contender that brings something different, something new. And
they got film. They're getting film.
They do have film. And I mean, we will talk about this, but Trey Ford definitely, showed a wide range of different plays that he's capable of. So he put it all out for them to be able to see on film. So we'll see how that goes. But Ryan, outside of football, you've been covering many other leagues and sports. Your podcast, Off the Rain, is done for the season. And now you have a new show called The Forge right here on Shotgun Sports Network. So tell us about the new show.
So, I actually had a segment on the Off the Reins podcast called the Birmingham Sports Brief. And I got a lot of contact from different people wanting more of just the sports, because most things around here are centered around like the traditional media focuses on collegiate sports. Alabama, Auburn, UAB is life around here. And the thing is, they don't focus enough on the professional sports teams. Thing is, you have to have a little bit of commentary on these teams if you want to see, the fan interest consistently. So I decided to go ahead and do that. And I cover the Birmingham Stallions, the Birmingham Barons of the MILB, the Birmingham Legion of the USL Championship, the Birmingham Squadron of the NBA G League, and the Birmingham Bulls of the Southern Professional Hockey League. So
the SP. And then it's so cool. We see the Barons flag in the background. Birmingham Bulls, I know that you've done quite a bit of content on them now. What's it like covering hockey for the first time with the Birmingham Bulls? Like, obviously the Edmonton Oilers are huge here. I don't think we'll be doing media for the Oilers anytime soon, but
I think Edmonton has that covered.
Edmonton has that covered extremely well. But like you said, right, you're filling those gaps, and Birmingham is just so oversaturated with sports. And like you said, you don't get enough coverage. So, especially hockey. What's it like covering it down there?
I'm stoked for it, man, because I grew up back when Birmingham Bulls were part of the ECHL, and I loved going to the games. Growing up, going to the games, and now being able to cover them, the front office is very down to earth and very open and willing to, help do this, because they know that this is helping the team and helping the success of the team, the sustained success of the team. So they're really cool about it. I just had a interview on Monday night's episode of the Forge with head coach Craig Simchuk, who was the captain on the inaugural team of the Birmingham Bulls this second generation. So, well, technically third, because they were a World Hockey WHL team for the Toronto used to be the Toronto Toros.
Toros, correct. Yeah.
That's cool. That's really cool. I mean, it feels like small town, but not really. You know.
It is like, well, and they're just so oversaturated
Yeah.
with sports. You got NBA, G League. You
Right.
have so many.
Well, and the Barons have also seen some success with one or two of their players getting called to the majors.
Right.
It would
A
be
lot.
yeah, it would be special to experience as someone that covers a team. So, what's
Right.
that?
Two of the three players that so before the season started, they had an open practice and a media day with the players. So I interviewed three of the players. Two of the players have already been up to, or actually in Chicago right now. So they're playing for the Chicago White Sox right now. One of the players is actually in Charlotte. He just got lifted up to Charlotte, which is AAA. So hopefully soon you might see him. Tim Elko. He won a College World Series with Ole Miss. So
Oh, no way.
yeah, so we've got a lot of talented folks here. We're really struggling right now because Chicago and Charlotte have taken a lot of the players. So hopefully we're in the playoffs at least. So hopefully we can get some more players back because Chicago's so far back and so is Charlotte. They're not even near playoff contention. So hopefully they'll send us back some players so that we can make a good run in the playoffs.
There's a lot of talent in Birmingham, it seems. Hey?
Right.
Oh,
Oh,
it's crazy. And I mean, for you to get to cover these guys and to cover these stories, that's really special, man. We've been watching, we've obviously been tuning into the Forge. You're on episode, it's either episode 9 or episode 5. What episode are you on of the Forge?
7. It'll be 7. 6. We just had 6. We'll have 7 this week. So
okay.
Next week.
Perfect.
That's exciting. Birmingham seems fun. We should go to.
We got to go to Birmingham.
Gotta go to Alabama.
Yeah, nice. You didn't call it Alabama. No, man. This is absolutely fantastic. Do you got any sneak peek for your next episode of The Forge?
Not really. I've just got. We're just covering everything that's going on. Right now, the Birmingham Barons are taking on in-state rivals, the Rocket City Trash Pandas.
Nice.
Everybody loves that mascot because it's literally a raccoon in a trash can that has rocket boosters coming out the bottom because it's in Madison, which is right next to Huntsville, which Huntsville is known for the Space and Rocket Center and all of that. So we actually had a reality show called Rocket City Rednecks. It was, I believe, it was on TLC here in the States. I don't know if you guys might have had it, but it was hilarious.
They need a trash panda mascot too, apparently. I love it. That sounds like my spirit animal.
Oh no, that's so cool. Daryl here in the herd chat. I've been to Birmingham once. Amazing barbecue. There you go.
Absolutely.
Oh,
I'm very picky. So when I went to St. Louis, when I went to Texas for the first UFL game, the inaugural UFL game, I was very picky about the barbecue I tried. I do not like Texas barbecue. At least the ones that I tried in Dallas. Now, when I went to St. Louis, there was one right by Busch Stadium that was amazing. Shout out to the guys at Salt and Smoke. If you go to St. Louis, make sure you check out Salt and Smoke. That place is amazing. But they really do have really good barbecue in St. Louis. But I'm still a homer. I got to stick with my hometown Birmingham barbecue.
Barbecue.
You know what? I would love to try that. I don't think I've had backyard barbecues here in Canada, but that's as far as I go for my experience in real barbecues. So
I smoke meats like every weekend.
I know, but I mean, I feel like that would be a little different than Birmingham barbecue.
They actually have barbecue's so big here in Alabama. They actually have a competition that people come from all of uh, all around from the country, the world, and even I think we had somebody from Australia come out. But it's called Barbecue, and it's a barbecue competition, and it's amazing.
I feel like we would watch that on TV if they put it
Yes.
on TV.
Herdy's TV, barbecue TV. Birmingham needs their name removed from their.
No,
Sorry, no, that's a.
kudos all the way, man. Kudos all the way.
And yes, Daryl, I think Baltimore is actually the team that he's going for. So
I'm
luckily,
pretty sure.
but yes, go Kudas. Matt Dunnigan,
That'd be funny.
Kudas legend, now TSN panelist. Ryan, that's all the time we have for The More You Didn't Know. Man, where can we find you online? And I guess, is there any projects for Shotgun Sports Network Alabama?
Well, we're still working on getting ready for this fall. We've got a big packed fall this year because the Barons are in the playoffs. We're probably going to have the Legion in the playoffs and start of the Squadron and the Birmingham Bulls. So, but you can find me on X and Facebook and on Shotgun Sports Network on YouTube. But whether you go on to the Stallion Stampede or Shotgun Sports Alabama.
Perfect. Awesome.
That's awesome.
No, well, we'll definitely find you. I mean, we've found you time and time again, and we found you today for this interview. So everybody, make sure you go check out Ryan at Shotgun Sports Alabama and Stallion Stampede, the Forge podcast, and Off the Reins podcast. Ryan, thank you so much for joining us today, man. This was a blast, and I'm sure we'll see you again soon.
Awesome. Appreciate you having me, man.
Appreciate you, man. Okay.
Have a good night.
Have a good one, man.
Peace. Cheers.
Cheers. So that is Ryan Messer, the guy who made this koozie, by the way, Ryan Messer.
Nice.
So shout out to Ryan Messer for joining us tonight on the Elks Call. Big shout out to you as well, the viewer, for tuning into tonight's episode of the Elks Call. And today we are joined once again by Jason of the Puckin' Pigskin podcast. Welcome back to the show, Jason. You're a big Stamps fan. We're big Elks fans. So we're all excited for the Labor Day Classic. Am I right?
Hell yeah, we are. Hell yeah. It's been a crazy season so far, but I think we're ready.
Oh, huge. I think we expected a little bit more wins. I think Calgary Stampeders fans also expected a couple more wins, but we are still fighting for the playoffs, both of our teams. So it's been a minute since we've had a meaningful Labor Day Classic, right?
Very true.
Yeah, it has been. I mean, I can't even count the last time the Labor Day Classic meant something, because I think the last time it meant something for the Stampeders, but not the Eskimos. Now it means something for both of us because we're digging out of the basement.
Yeah.
Oh, exactly. Get it out the mud, right? So
We gotta fight our way out at this point.
well, exactly. Jason, we definitely appreciate having you on the show today. We're going to dig in a moment. But first, we'd like to thank everybody for tuning in tonight, whether you're watching on our YouTube, which is Shotgun Sports Network, or on Facebook, or if you're listening on TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Edmonton Sports Talk, or wherever you get your podcasts. While we're here,
The trash talk is starting in the chat, it looks like.
I see that, yeah, in the herd chat. Love it. That's what this is all about, right? Come talk Edmonton Elks, not Calgary Stampeders. Klima's lit. Stamps are going down in the Labor Day Classic. The trash talk has begun. And we see you, Ryan Messer and Daryl, in the herd chat as well.
I'm gonna give you guys a heads up. I probably will refer to the Elks as the Eskimos this whole time because it just happens.
it just rolls off the tongue.
It does.
Hey,
easily.
And you know what? With new owner in, we never know what will happen. So it's all double E football.
But listen, we don't care. We don't get offended. So it's okay.
Love it. So let's go ahead and go through this stacked show lineup. We're going to open up with The More You Didn't Know with Jason, where we're going to talk Labor Day rivalry, podcasting, and about the state of the league. Following that, we'll dig into Kathy's Herd Report, talking about the latest Edmonton Elks game, transactions, and news. Then we'll give you an Edmonton sports update, and then finally we'll cap the show with the Fan Forum, where we discuss hot topics surrounding the Elks, the CFL, and the sports world as a whole. Be sure to blow up the herd chat so you can get your comments and questions onto the show, just like you guys are already doing. It is fantastic. Let's kick off the show with The More You Didn't Know, brought to you by the Winnipeg Terminal. Catch the flight with Mike and Joe every week, talking all things Jets and Bombers on Shotgun Sports Network. Wheels up. And we got Podcast Luna in the house. In this segment, we're going to talk to Jason about a number of topics in the CFL realm. Once again, comments and questions. Get them in the herd chat, and we'll get them onto the show. We see you. Klima's Lid, Section W in the house represent. Love it. Alrighty. Question number 1. Jason. It's been a minute since you last joined the Elks Call. What the heck have you been up to, man?
I've been busy with life. Work got really busy. Life got really busy. Family. We had some kids move back into the house and take over my studio, so I kind of lost that, and I decided to put the show on pause. Have been pondering returning though definitely before the hockey season. So hopefully that pans out. We'll see where it goes. But yeah, life's just been busy so far the last 6 or so months.
Yeah, that's fair. That's
fair.
You know,
that's fair.
Before you know it, it's going to be winter. And where the heck did 2024 go?
Yeah.
The football season's going to be done, and then we're going to have hockey back, and it's been a whirlwind. So we get it. But
Yeah.
you know, let's talk about your Stampeders a little bit. They are 4-6, and of course the Elks are 3-8, making this a very important series for both teams. When is the last time you remember Labor Day being? We already talked about this a little bit, but the last time that Labor Day was really meaningful series. Do you remember that?
Yeah, like for both of the teams.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel it hasn't really been very meaningful since Bo Levi Mitchell left Calgary, because once Bo left Calgary, their record drastically has changed a lot. So it's probably been at least 3 years since it's been a meaningful game for the Stampeders, at least.
Well, and I would even say for the Elks or the Double E, 2019 to 2018 would be the last time both of these teams were actually playing for a playoff spot, right?
Right.
Actually, I'll correct you there. It was the Eskimos playing, and that's the last time the Eskimos had a meaningful season on the go.
Well, pretty darn much, except for this year. I'm going to say this year we got a little bit of meaning behind it, especially with this Labor Day Classic coming up, right?
You know what? I feel like everybody here, I mean, I'm a new Elks fan, right? And by new, I mean like 3 years. And I notice that every single year, people put meaning behind these games. But it's not even about the game itself. It's not even about the results or where the team is going. It's just a story, right? Just what it is, what it's about, what it means. And that's why people put meaning behind it, not so much where the teams are going.
Oh, yeah. You're absolutely right. The Labor Day Classic is always a meaningful game for the fans. It's just, there's nothing like it.
No, there isn't. I like Daryl here in the herd chat. Stamps and Elks brings new meaning to hurting Alberta.
We're all hurting right now.
That should have been the podcast episode name.
We'll rename it.
Hurting Alberta. Oh my goodness, it's hilarious.
John over here, 2002 was the last time the Edmonton team won back-to-back in the Labor Day Classic in Alberta. So that's over 20 years.
Yeah,
crazy.
The Double E has not managed to beat the Calgary Stampeders on both games for so long. And it's a rarity to see the Edmonton Elks or the Edmonton Eskimos win in Calgary as it is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. The Stampeders, I think, have won 10 of the last 11. So
yeah, that's sad.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, no, that's.
I'm curious to know what the result is coming back to Edmonton, though. I'm not sure. I actually tried searching for those stats and I couldn't find it. So I'd like to know what the rematch stats are like.
Not that good either. I've been to all of them in the last 10 years. I can tell you that we seldom win that one. But
I black them out.
yeah, we like the little device from Men in Black.
Yeah.
Now
Gone.
let's talk about this game coming up this weekend. It's going to be a huge one. We know that there's going to be some players to watch on both teams. Jason, do you have any who's your X factors? Who's your key players for this game coming up this weekend? Any players that you're specifically watching for?
Well, it's funny you mention that because I was looking at some stats the last couple of days, and I mean the Stamps lost the game to the Argos by 14 points, but Jake Mayer threw for 373 yards. And I mean the game to the against the Redbacks last week. Tommy Stevens had 3 rushing touchdowns and they still lost. So, in that game, Jake Mayer only I think threw for 270 yards or something like that. I mean, Jake Mayer, he's throwing up the numbers, but for some reason they're not pulling out the wins. So it's definitely the defense that I think we need to watch. The defense needs to come up big this weekend because Edmonton can have an explosive offense as we've seen in a few games.
Yeah, and I would agree with that. I mean, it seems like the offense seems to be doing their job there in Calgary. Allowing those points in is going to get you every time. And, we've seen Calgary have a couple of collapses this year. I've been keeping an eye because of reasons like this, because of the Labor Day Classic, right? So it's going to be a pretty critical game for both teams, but especially on defense. And I think defense for both teams, this is going to be crucial because, I mean, our offense, we seem to have a sputtering offense, right? But the defense needs to come up for those sputters.
Yeah.
In my opinion,
I mean, not this last game, but the game before, we saw a really good textbook kind of offense and defense, right? That everybody was kind of putting their two cents. Everybody was doing the work that they were supposed to do. And I think that is, bare minimum what you need to be able to come ahead in a match like this.
Yeah.
But if we lack consistency, just like we have seen a lot of the times, then you really don't know how it's going to end up.
No, and
I think it's definitely the defense on the Stampeder side. The Elks side, I think Boris Beatty needs to make more field goals. I mean, that's been the difference in so many games this season, and I'm still torn on McLeod Bethel Thompson versus Trey Ford. I still think Trey Ford's the better quarterback, but Macbeth hasn't been doing too bad.
He hasn't been doing bad. Now
I feel like he hasn't been doing bad in writing, in paper, like you said, he's got the numbers, he's got the stats, he's got the yards, he's in paper he looks really good, and yet it's just not really translating.
Well, those third quarters too.
Yeah.
Third quarters the team just seems to drop off. But so Kathy, you're saying like on the Elk side of things, who would be like one player that you're keeping an eye on?
One player? Oh.
Like
I get to pick one player?
I'll pick one.
Well, it depends. I mean, for me, it's always the quarterback to watch, right? I mean, I really want Trey Ford to be in this, and after having a couple of games being away, but we haven't seen the depth chart yet. We don't know if he's going to be the one starting or not. So they start practice tomorrow. We'll find out. But outside of that, I want to see what else Kevin Brown is bringing to the table after last game.
I like that. I think the running back position as well, because they had Rankin. Rankin was doing good things. Javon Leake, he was doing good things. He got injured, so you see the rise and fall of a couple running backs here. Yeah. That's easily going to be an X factor position, right? So
I'm curious to know what you guys think about what you've seen from Curly Gittens Jr. I think he's looked pretty damn good.
Yep. He has. But
he can be an X factor for sure.
Well, the thing with the wide receivers too is that we have so many good ones as well, right? With Mitchell, and we have Gino Lewis, and we have Gittens Jr.
Hergy Mayala.
Sorry, I always forget his name, right? So because of that, because we have so many good wide receivers, it's kind of hard to have that one star that you're always looking for, right? You know that if everything aligns and the passes are good and they're in a good position, either one of those four is going to perform wonderfully.
And you have depth.
Yes.
So
it's hard to say. I think he definitely has a little bit more chemistry with MBT than Trey Ford.
I think he's been a fantastic plug and play. Like
Yes.
he's been basically a plug and play wide receiver. Does, gets into the gritty spots, jumps up, gets those 50-50 balls. He wins those 50-50 balls, or 90-10s, as we say, right?
Yeah.
So let's check the herd chat real quick before our next question. What do we got?
Last time the Elks won the rematch was in 2023, and the score was 25-23. So
Queen Faithful with the kick.
Oh, that was that.
That was the Queen Faithful. Klima's lid here. Dean Faithful needs to be our PKer. Enough of Beatty.
Yes, Dean Faithful needs to be our PKer. Yeah, I mean that is definitely something we'll probably bring that here on our when we're talking about the last game and what happened.
Yeah,
I agree 1,000%. I was shocked when Faithful was let go.
Well, he's on the practice roster right now, but obviously they brought in Beatty to, kind of replace him basically, and it hasn't.
Oh, I thought he was released. Okay.
Yeah, it still hasn't been the greatest, and then poor Beatty, because he is a world-class kicker.
But here you go.
Yeah.
He is 18-25 in field goals this year, 72%. So not good enough. And he's cost the Elks multiple games, which is true. I mean, one thing that I kind of wanted to see, but I forgot completely, is take a look at Dean Faithful's stats. Right, because I mean, he can be another one of those that he looks great on paper. We've seen some of the reels that he posts that he's, kicking field goals out of the 65 or something crazy yard line, right? So we know that he's got the talent, but there's a very big difference between having the talent and actually being able to bring that onto the field. Because sometimes, it's a completely different beast at that point.
In game scenarios.
Yeah,
well, and Jason, let's take a look at Rene Paredes, right? Paredes is almost automatic down there in Calgary.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he's looking like this season. I haven't really paid much attention to that. Let me just pull that up here. I'm sure he's.
Yeah,
he is.
While we're looking that up, we do have a message here from Daryl, going back to the conversation about Curly Gittins Jr. Gittins was good, but he already had Gina Lewis.
Wasn't worth giving up Jake Sresna, and that's Curly Gittins Jr. wasn't worth giving up Jake Sresna. I'll complete that. We talk about this one fairly often.
I miss Jake Sresna.
We talk about this almost every week on this show, but it's one of those moves that I'm sure all fans are definitely missing Jake Sresna now. They're scrambling to fill that D line. We're going to talk about another Canadian that came back to the CFL today. I'm sure later on in Matthew Betts, but
Klima's lead.
So Rene Paredes has made 26 of 27, which is 96.3%.
There you go.
And that's what we should be keeping for. And I mean, Klima's slid over here is true. Dean doesn't kick the ball out of bounds, right? There's a difference between, say, throwing a field goal and missing it, because that happens. I mean, that's just something that happens, than just completely, doing things that we have seen Beatty do that have cost us a lot.
Well, and it's interesting too. You watch Calgary, right? And you see how Rene Paredes, he has that automatic system. When it's, the 40-yarder kick, you're not worrying about it not going through.
Yeah, you shouldn't. And yet we've seen Beatty completely miss 38-yard field goal.
So we'll see what happens. But let's get back to some Labor Day Classic stuff. Jason, do you have any predictions for this weekend?
Well, Edmonton's been doing really well the last 4 games. They won 3 in a row, and the last game they took the Grey Cup champs right to the bitter end and nearly won that game. So given what they've done the last 4 weeks and what the Stampeders have done the last 4 weeks, I hate to say it, but I think the edge is to the Elks for sure.
Whoa, we need a...
Yeah. Yeah, I'll say it'll be a close game. It'll be a close game. Let's say 27-25 for the Elks.
I like that.
Interesting.
I like that.
Interesting. We'll save ours for when we talk about
Later
our
on,
predictions.
yes. No, but I mean that's a pretty good prediction, and I mean I would say that you're probably on the money, but I think it's going to be that either or, right? It's either going to be Calgary with that 27, or it's going to be the Edmonton Elks. Like
I was actually shocked to see the Stampeders are slightly favored in this game. So
I did see that. You know, when you
I don't know if that's because of overall record or Edmonton's definitely been the better team the last 4 weeks.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just a consistency part of it, right? I don't know.
We've never been able to say that on the show, like that the Elks are potentially the better team after 4 weeks of work. It's like,
listen, we went into the last game thinking that we had that.
Yeah,
we were confident that we were a good team at that point, and then of course, things happen.
You know what? They gave it shit for the first half of the game, and then the second half they didn't score a point, did they?
No.
It's a theme. No. It's a theme with this team, right? It's something that we see fairly often, and especially those third quarters. We do have the stats 50-0 in the last 5 games.
It was crazy. It was crazy. Yeah, no, it's been absolutely insane. I mean, in the last episode that we had, and I just posted a reel about this, that we talked about, stupid penalties and how people have to put money into a jar if they have a stupid penalty. We should do that, and the Elks, that people should put money into a jar for every third quarter that they don't score a point. Because Jesus, they could pay for a lot of the money that the team is losing just by doing that. Like,
the Elks and the Oilers would be rich if they put a quarter into the jar every time they took a dumb penalty.
Yeah, well, that's just it. That's the whole point, right? Some accountability, some way of making sure that they do something about it. Because I mean, even Jerry Jackson has been like, we don't know what's going on. I don't know why the third quarter is just awful.
Seriously,
But if we can manage to turn that around, then I think we could get it. We do have another prediction here in the chat. If Trey starts, 34-31 Elks.
I like it.
So,
and then BD should donate $100 for every field goal he misses.
And yes, John Kirby, I did say the Elks will win on Monday.
See, anything can happen here.
Any given Monday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any given Monday. But what would you say is your favorite Labor Day Classic memory of your favorite game?
Oh boy, that's a tough one. I would probably have to go back to, I think it was 2001 when my wife and I attended the game. It's the only Labor Day Classic we've been to, actually, because she's an Elks fan. The only Labor Day Classic game we've been to, and unfortunately, the Calgary fans were not very nice to her. They were saying very rude things. So we've never been back to a Labor Day game after that.
Brutal.
That's not good.
Yeah, it was pretty brutal, actually. I was embarrassed.
It's sports. We're talking about entertainment. We're talking about sports. Stamps fans come to our house all the time, and we're down in Section X with all the other Stamps fans, and we're Elks fans, and we end up leaving with our tail between our legs because Calgary usually wins, right? Like, Bo Levi Mitchell's wife was in front of me once, and we ended up getting into chirping with her, and she's chirping back.
Oh dear!
And guess what? At the end of it, we shook hands, said, "Hey, good chirps, Miss Mitchell," and I walked along because we're talking about sports, right? So people take that stuff way too seriously.
And that's just it. I feel like everybody has to be mindful of the fact that this is a football game and there is bound to be some chirping, right? Take it personally. People shouldn't take it too bad, because there's been even, a few times, we all know that Scout goes a little hard on that Trump, right? And it tends to be sometimes annoying to other people around us. And particularly if the people in front of us happen to be the opposite team's fans.
It's funny you mentioned that, because listening to the Elks game on the way home on the weekend here and then watching the end of it here, I wanted to kill whoever was blowing that damn horn in Montreal.
Oh, the Montreal horn is a completely different subject. The air horn, like, it's so funny how polarizing this subject is. Like, as much as like the Edmonton Elks name change thing is
Yeah,
like, you know, it's a
no.
big subject.
No.
No, let's talk
Montreal air horn
about
guy.
Montreal air horn guy. Me.
Yes.
Oh, so funny, so funny. Yes, John gets a headache from all the
From
way in
the-
section W there.
And you know what? But that's what it is, right? I mean, that's the whole point. You're going out there to be loud, to enjoy the game, especially if everybody gets in on it, right? I mean, one thing that I do know that perhaps the Elks are not really good at is directing the crowd. Right. So
Yes.
sometimes I'll even put like little notices that says "get loud," and they're not even at the right time. If they manage to make it a thing that everybody joins in on the noise making, to be honest, it would drown out a lot of those horns if everybody was cheering, if everybody
Yeah,
was
everybody else is bringing the
yelling.
noise. Yeah.
It would
I
drown.
agree.
Right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, even at the end of the day, you know, when you do realize what it is. This entertainment is a game. You're not there to insult anybody else. You're not there to,
Yeah.
you know, piss somebody else off. If they happen to get annoyed, then you're like, well, move somewhere else. I'm sorry. I'm just doing what I'm supposed to be doing as a fan.
Yeah, you don't,
Yeah,
don't be.
exactly.
Yeah.
Jason, you're always welcome to come to Commonwealth Stadium. Stall 182 for the tailgate.
Yes.
Yeah, man, definitely always feel free to come on down to Commonwealth because you will not get treated like that as a Stampede.
There's a good possibility you could see my wife and I at the rematch.
Yes,
that'd be
yes, that would be fantastic.
Oh no, you won't, because we'll be in Saskatchewan. We'll be at a wedding.
Oh,
Who
Wait a minute.
dares get married?
We'll definitely have to make it to a game, though.
Yes. Please
Yeah.
do.
there's after that one, there's 3 more home games. So
Yeah, we do have a-
unfortunately, Calgary is going to be a road game for us. But
That's fine. That's fine.
we should, yeah. Either way, we're gonna have to get together, Jason. But getting back to a little bit of Double E in Calgary, Elks haven't swept the series since 2002, like we talked about, and Calgary has had a special uniform for most of those wins. So my question here is, like, does that alternate jersey matter to you? Do you think it's cool? Like, is that kind of what makes the Labor Day rivalry that much more?
I don't think it means anything in the game. I definitely do like the jersey the best out of all the Calgary jerseys. I hate the bloody candy cane jerseys, I call them, ones with the white stripes. I can't stand those jerseys. But yeah, the black jerseys and the reflective helmets, the silver helmets, definitely my favorite.
Pinball helmets, yeah, they usually have the pinball helmets. They used to have that red to black.
Yeah.
It's the outlaw look, you know. I will say the outlaw look is so freaking nice.
Mhm.
And no wonder, right? Like, they came out with that black uniform and they're like, hey, I think I remember the story on it.
Would the equivalent be that green helmet that I've seen from the Eskimos when they?
But the
run it?
Double E?
Yeah,
That
with,
was
like,
that was the
dark
signature.
green.
That was the
with the Double E.
signature that matched
Yeah.
the Double E's,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
matches that jersey
Yeah.
there, yeah.
They should
Yeah.
like that best.
Well, most likely we're gonna see for the rematch, we'll probably see the 75th.
Right.
So you'll probably see that one there. Wow.
Yeah.
Imagine both of these jerseys. You know, it would be the odds. It's like we really like the alternate designs around here. But yeah, no,
And you'll probably see Calgary in the candy cane jerseys, I'm assuming.
You know what? I will agree with that. I don't like those.
no, the KFC buckets. But the black outlaw though is
Yeah,
probably
that
one
was
of the
nice.
most sharp looks, and the best was the outlaw with the faded pinball helmet. You know, Calgary does those alternate uniforms very, very well, and I do think it gives the players a little bit of an edge. It gives you a little bit of hype. It's something that you're not wearing all the time. You know, if you make it to the playoffs and you get a home playoff game, you might see the outlaw jerseys, or you might see the 75th or whatever Labor Day alternate they want to wear, right?
Yeah.
Now, I guess Calgary doesn't really have anything alternate on top of that, right? There's nothing else that they could really go for. But the black look is it's a signature.
Pretty slick.
It's a sick
Yeah.
job. How long do you think? I do remember the story, but how long do you think they've been rolling with that black one there, Jason?
I remember them coming out with it because John Cornish was still with the team and he was the one modeling it. I would have to say probably, I want to say 10 years at least.
Yeah, I think it's somewhere between 10 and 20. Eric Spartan here in the herd chat from Facebook. What up? Elks all white jerseys were the best match they were last year. Remember? You had the all black outlaw look, and then you had the all white with the white pants, a look that we hadn't seen for a while.
That's right, the white and white.
Yeah. So it was, I'd love to see that again. And the Elks have been, and a couple of other teams also have been doing the uniform watch, the preview. Here's the preview of what we're wearing on game day. So, you know what? It's merchandise. It sells.
Of course, it would sell.
It sells.
I mean, we have John over here asking why can't Edmonton get special jerseys for the Labor Day game?
Well, and I would like to dig into this, but this might be a fan forum question for later on. So we'll talk about those kind of jerseys. But Jason, Stamps, football, Flames, a little bit of Flames hockey. You're a football and hockey fan, and Puck and Pigskin is your podcast. So
That's correct.
It's on a little bit of a hiatus, but how has that podcasting experience been like? And do you have any plans to return Puck and Pigskin to the airwaves?
Well, it's definitely been on my mind. The more I see, watching your guys' show and watching Ray and Benny. I love Ray and Benny, and I see Coach Phil once in a while, and it brings back memories, and it makes me want to do this more. So you could definitely see more Puck and Pigskin coming up, and I like having the hockey and the football because hockey is my number one sport. I gotta say, hockey is my number one sport. And I love CFL, and not a lot of people talk CFL, so it's good to have this little group that talks CFL a lot.
Totally,
that's so true. We said it plenty of times before that there's not enough coverage for CFL, and if the coverage has to come from fan-sided media, I feel like that's even better.
How about?
I wish my teams did a lot better performance-wise, so I could talk a little more about that, but.
You know what? I've always said this. It's easier for us to have an episode when the Elks have not been doing well than when they do well, because there's more talking points.
That's true. That's true.
If things go well and they win, you're like, yay, they did everything right. What do we talk about?
Yeah,
that's true.
Well, how do we complain?
Yeah.
We don't know what to complain about. We got to dig this apart here, rip it apart. John Kirby here in the herd chat has the stat September 6, 1994 for that black.
20 years.
He yelled at us.
30 years.
30 years. It is exactly 30 years. Nice.
Yeah.
It can't be 30 years. Holy cow.
That's crazy.
We're all old. Don't worry. We're all in this together.
Man.
Oh, that's so funny. No, and even talking about Puck and Pigskin, we also over here at Shotgun Sports, we also have a Winnipeg hockey and football CFL football podcast, the Winnipeg Terminal with Mike and Joe. But it's kind of funny. We actually kind of took a little bit of inspiration from what you're doing over at Puck and Pigskin for that, because you're covering both teams in really two leagues, CFL and NHL, and I think that we're lacking that connection between hockey and football a lot, considering that we're Alberta. We have two CFL teams, we have two NHL teams, and yet somehow, it's easy to cheer for the NHL. It's easy to eat the media. It's easy to find media. It's easy to find resources XYZ. But when it comes to the CFL, we're kind of missing that link. So that's why your show, Jason, is Puck and Pigskin. It's truly one of our favorites. You've had some really good guests. We saw that it was part of the Hockey Podcast Network and stuff like that. So, very successful. Always great to see your success, man.
Yeah.
I'll definitely try and mount a comeback here, and hopefully my teams will as well.
Yes, no, that's always the hope, and there's always a market. I mean, I feel like here in Edmonton is a little, on the hockey side is a little oversaturated, but that's just because it's Oilers and you expect that there's a lot of coverage, whether it is fan or not, right? But bringing it to some of the smaller leagues or not so known leagues or noticeable leagues, then yes,
Yeah.
it's very important to have that for sure.
BCA.
I feel like Edmonton sports fans are a lot more passionate about their teams than Calgary sports fans for some reason. We just don't have the same fan base for some reason. And yes, I'm calling you out, Calgary fans.
Yeah, there you go. Say, call them out.
That's
like
a
it.
real. That's a real for sure. Call 'em out, bring them out. Bring them out. And you know what? To a degree, I think you're right. I think that Calgary though has been lacking something to cheer for. I mean, really, the last good run for the Calgary Flames was a couple years ago when they got eliminated. 2 years ago, they got eliminated by the Edmonton Oilers in the playoffs. So, like, you know, watch a defeat like that and watch your rival team beat you in the playoffs, and then your team goes unsuccessful for the next season. It's like, what are you going to cheer for? You watch the Calgary Stampeders.
Yeah.
They kind of hit their peak a couple years ago, and just like the Double E, they're going down a slope, and you know the attendance falls and everything else, and then now you're struggling to get the wins and then the attendance back. And that's a very, very similar situation to what's happening here in Edmonton with the Double E. It's just that I will admit I know a lot more Double E fans even in the atmosphere than Calgary Stampeders, and then even just getting into, like, let's say non-mainstream here,
right,
talking about external media. There's nobody covering the Calgary Stampeders right now as far as podcasts go. Go Stamps, Go Show, and yourself were the two biggest podcasts as of last year. So, you know, Jason, you're the link, man. You're the link, and you know, we'd love to see you back on the airwaves. We're like all excited, and it's not our show, so very, very thrilled, man. We really hope that you do get her back going, and we will be there to plug it. Now, can we find you online right now during hiatus mode?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook still. I got out of Twitter or X or whatever it's called these days because it was just getting too much. But yeah, I'm still on Facebook. You'll find Puck and Pigskin on TikTok and Instagram.
Perfect. Are you? Is it still on YouTube as well?
It's still on YouTube. Yep.
Okay, perfect.
Fantastic.
So once our fans are done subscribing, or our listeners are done subscribing over here, they can go over to Puck and Pigskin, and they can stay tuned for potential new P&P.
Return.
The return.
Potential. I don't want to reveal too much, but potentially September 18th.
Whoa, we got a date. Holy. Whoa.
Potential.
That's all right.
September 18th, right? I want to make sure I had that right.
We'll
No, we know that you're a busy guy, so we will let you go, but September 18th, potential return of Puck and Pigskin this weekend. Labor Day Classic, Calgary Stampeders versus Edmonton Elks. Jason, repping those stamps. Man, thank you so much for swinging by the show.
Anytime, guys. I love it.
Awesome.
Always fantastic. I'm sure we'll chat you again soon, my man. We will check you later. Cheers, Jason.
Hope to see you.
Excellent. Have a great night, guys.
Have a great night.
And that was Jason of the Puck and Pigskin podcast. I mean, big shout out to Jason. His show, we've been on his show before, and he's always good stuff, really down to earth. And as you see,
I always hate it when I like Calgary fans. Like, why do they have to be nice? Why couldn't they be like, total a-holes for me to be like, see, that's why. That's why.
Jason's a sweetheart, okay? Jason's a giant sweetheart. Next up, we have The More You Didn't Know, where we're going to talk to our guests about a variety of topics. The More You Didn't Know is brought to you by the Winnipeg Terminal. Catch the flight with Mike and Joe every second Wednesday as they get you fueled with all the latest in Bombers and Jetsland. Wheels up.
Are you going to introduce our guest?
Our Joe. Our guest today is Joe Pritchard.
He's our Joe.
He's our Joe. We call him our Joe apparently now over at Shotgun Sports Network. But Joe Pritchard.
Been promoted.
The Winnipeg Terminal and the Rouge, White, and Blue podcast. Man, thank you so much for joining us once again. It's definitely been a minute, but you're back on the show, man. Since our teams have started to play better since the last time we talked, Joe,
Just a little.
just a little bit. Before we get into the sports talk, how have you been, man?
It's been great. Just the same old, getting the Rouge, White, and Blue out every week. Trying my best to keep up with everything, and also trying to raise a 6-year-old who, well, that's always an interesting endeavor, no matter what you're doing.
Yes.
Yes.
Agreed.
We do know how that goes.
That's a fun age, though. But that's the age that they also think they're 15, and they start getting a little mouthy. So
Just a little.
yes. We do have congratulations here from John on the win last weekend in Edmonton. But the Elks are going to win in Winnipeg, and we'll talk about this. But for now, I want to know. The Winnipeg Jets preseason is ramping up while the Bombers are in the back half of the regular season. Is this the best time of the year for sports fans?
Yes. and don't even and Winnipeg just had its team in its baseball team in the American Association playoffs, so that's been going on. If you're an MLB fan, playoffs are ramping up. If you like other sports, basketball's starting soon, college football's going on. Like September and October and even into November is just like, here, have all the sports and just remember this good time because February is coming sooner than you think.
Yes. Especially in Winnipeg. I've heard horror stories about those winters.
Yes, yeah, February. That's exactly it. And I wish we were more excited about MLB right now, but the Blue
Right.
Jays have been
They're
horrible. So
Nope.
yeah, no October baseball for us fans. For the Blue Jays, anyways.
Well, you can always root for a team that's named after the people that make beer because you like beer, right?
That's true. That's true. I guess.
If you need a bandwagon team, we're happy to provide some space for you.
I like the logo most of all. I think the Milwaukee Brewers have a pretty good logo.
And that was actually designed by a guy from the same university I went to in Eau Claire, way back in like the 1970s. So he predated me some, even though it might not look like it these days.
Oh, that's so funny. But speaking of Winnipeg, getting back to Winnipeg, outside of the state of Minnesota here, or the state of Wisconsin, state of Wisconsin.
I'm sorry, I always forget that you're not in Winnipeg.
No, he's just a Winnipegger at heart.
Yes, and I happen to have with the Winnipeg terminal, like we've mentioned before, 2 guys from Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin, talking Winnipeg sports. The only podcast that does that, I guarantee it.
Seriously.
Super weird. I always forget all the time. I'm pretty sure my last comment about Winnipeg's winters is because I forgot that you were not.
Well, I mean, it's pretty clear that winters there are not a whole lot of fun, but I mean, because on our coldest days, we're getting the wind straight out of the northwest, and guess what's northwest of us?
Very true.
Well, exactly. But luckily, you made it up there in the summer. You recently went to a game up there at it's Princess Auto Stadium now, right?
Yep. Or just the stadium, as everybody calls it.
Or just the stadium.
I'm not paid enough to have to slap the corporate name on things. But yes, it was a blast. Got to see the Bombers win another game. Got to see the rivals defeated. That's always a good thing. Got to meet up with the Piffles Pod guys afterwards too, and even go a little bit further into the night with a few others, including a member of the Grey Cup Fun Police. So it was a great weekend.
That's awesome.
Grey Cup
and
Fun
I also restocked my wardrobe for the rest of the year.
I bet.
I had to hit the Bomber store and the Jet store, so we're good there.
I saw that you definitely stocked up. I saw you posted on Facebook there and in a group chat or two. And yeah, you definitely stocked up on all the Jets and Bombers gear. Hey, you're only there so often, Joe.
Well, and then you don't have to pay for shipping. So
exactly. So I can get twice the bang for my buck if I go on a shopping spree once a year.
Very true. Very true. And I mean, save yourself a little bit of money too with the conversion.
Mm-hmm.
Also true.
That is also
I
true.
just like to think of it as you guys being extra nice to me and giving me a 20% discount on everything.
Rub it in.
That's a way to look at it. That's probably what a lot of people feel about coming to Alberta without all the extra taxes. But that's for another day. Anyways, as we know, the Edmonton Elks and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are in a home-and-home series. Were you worried going into this matchup, and are you surprised at the results of the game one in the series?
I don't think I was worried so much. I know the Elks have been playing better. At the same time, the Bombers got out of whatever was causing them to sleepwalk through the first month of the season. It always seemed like they were playing from behind early in the season, and that's not the way Winnipeg wins games. Winnipeg wins games by going ahead early, keeping the other team down, and like slowly choking them out in the fourth quarter with Brady Oliveira. That's the way they win games. And if that's not the formula this year, they can't do it usually. So they've been sticking to that formula for the past 2 months now, going from 0-4 to 2-6, now 8-6. So they've refound the magic they've had in the past 3 years. So I can't complain, especially with the way the standings look right now.
Refound the
That's very
magic.
true.
I think that's a really good way to put it, because you should always be worried about Winnipeg right now. It's like, once again,
Mhm.
talking about the 2016 Double E Edmonton Eskimos. You always put the other team on notice. The other team was always worried about playing the Evil Empire, the Double E. That's Winnipeg right now.
Yeah,
And it's not even so much Montreal. I'm still worried about a Winnipeg matchup more than Montreal. Still.
that's why I was so surprised, going into that second half of the game and
Yeah.
having that score, because I was expecting exactly what you said, that they were just going to flatten us in the first half and then kind of keep it going and then choke us out in the last quarter, right? So
They left so many points on the field in that first half. I was in about the third quarter going, this is the way they've been losing this year. Let's hope things change, and they did.
No, but right now, Winnipeg is on a heater, bud. And one has to think that it will end at some point, right? As much as Winnipeg fans would like to think that this is going to happen forever, they're going to finish out the season on a streak, which it's possible, right? Reality also exists. So, do you think the upcoming Edmonton Elks game poses a threat, or do you think the Bombers lose on a different week?
I think any team this year is a threat. There's no free space anymore. The Ottawas of the past, the Edmonton Elks of the past couple of seasons where they struggled mightily, that's a thing of the past now. Even Calgary and Hamilton at the bottom of the table right now, they can beat you on any given week. I know Calgary has had kind of taken the mantle of the team that seems to be the easiest out right now. But even then, they're not a gimme. They took Saskatchewan all the way down to the end this past week, and they still have enough talent that you can't just overlook them. So the parity in this league, beyond Montreal being where they're at, is astounding, and it's really good because it means October matters. We've had a couple of seasons doing the Rouge, White, and Blue where we're sitting there in like week 18 going, okay, what are we going to talk about for the next 3 weeks? Because the playoffs are basically set. Not the case this year.
Yep.
No, the parody. We've said this before.
I like that,
We've
yeah.
said this before on the show. No, that's
It's so
bang on.
true. On any given week, you don't know what the standings are going to be like, which makes it really exciting in a way. Stressful, but really exciting.
It also makes it hard to pick them too.
Very true. But do you think that the Bombers have a serious chance of riding the streak into the playoffs?
Yeah, or if they clinch first in the West and sit guys for the last week or two of the season like they have in the past, you kind of look at those games as, okay, if they win, great. If they don't, well, we're in November where we want to be. So I'm not too worried about keeping a streak up. This team is built to play November football. They've been, over the past 4 seasons, in either on top, or they've had a chance to win with seconds on the clock in the Grey Cup, and you can't ask for anything more.
That's
Mhm.
very true. No, I agree. But what would you say is the main reason for the Bombers' success right now? Do you think that it's Zach Collaros? Is it the running game? Is it the defensive line? Like, what would you say is the number one reason if you had to pick, obviously, one unit or one particular
I would-
reason? What would it be?
I would say, and a lot of people are saying that this team is getting old, and that's true. In football years, they're getting close to the end, I'm sure, but just the veterans on this team and the experience of this team, even the younger players that are around these players, seem to just feed off of that. They don't make mistakes. They will kill you when you make yours. At the beginning of this season, the opposite was true. Like for the first 6 to 8 weeks of the season, it felt like they were just trying to prove to everybody that, hey, look, we can be explosive. We can go take over games whenever we want to. And that was the recipe for disaster. Once they got back to playing their game, playing within themselves, they kind of were forced to become more conservative on offense because of the injuries at the wide receiver position. But once they just started playing within themselves, they've become really tough to beat again. They're hard to beat one-on-one. The coaching staff knows how to knows these players and knows how to put them in position to succeed. It's going to take a really good set of individual efforts to overcome what this team is, and this team is just solid to the core. You're going to need to play your A game and hope Winnipeg plays their C game to be able to succeed.
Yeah.
I wish we could say that.
I know. There's a lot of things there, right?
There was a lot of passion and a lot of truth in that.
But Joe also makes a great point. This is a team that was on the cusp, or I guess technically still is on the cusp of a dynasty. I mean, there would be three cups in 5 years or whatever. But it's that standard. They have set that standard now. Winnipeg is the standard of the league, and they've gotten back there. It is crazy to see them go. What was it? 0-4. Last time we talked, Joe, it was 0-4. We were on the show, and we were both saying, "What the heck is going on here?" Like, one party here is used to this and expects this, and the other party, we're talking about a team that was just in the Grey Cup the year previous. So, I think that Winnipeg has set the standard. I do think you're correct. And the veteran presence is very, very important. Even with the Edmonton Elks, you had some veterans. Now they have a lot of younger guys and a lot of rookies and a lot of guys that have come in, but where they've gained in veteran presence is at the coaching level. The Edmonton Elks now have Armando Sewell on the D line, coaching the D line. Now you have Aaron Grimes out there on the turf, doing some coaching as well, and that's exactly, or he's in some form of role, right, as well as ambassador. But that's what you need. You need people to bring your organization on the turf through year in, year out, and to be able to maintain that veteran presence, whether you're bringing guys through or you're adding some of these guys to the coaching staff or whatever. And Willie Jefferson out there, I get salty about him wearing that green and gold jersey after the games here in Edmonton. I know he has some love for Edmonton, but he's a Bomber right now. So man, if you would have loved us that much, you would have been here right now. But who knows? There's a reason why. Obviously, he's doing fantastic in Winnipeg. But I do miss Willie Jefferson a lot.
It's salty.
I'm salty.
There was some sass in that comment, which was completely unnecessary and unrelated to the question.
I don't care. But that's the thing, is Willie Jefferson, he's part of that veteran core, is where I was going with that, right? So his veteran presence out there, and the D-line, we're going to talk about it, but that D-line is playing lights out once again.
Yeah, we definitely don't have the same type of experience in the team, right? We've talked about it, saying that sometimes the Elks seem like a revolving door. There's a revolving door of players, and not long enough contracts, not enough continuity
year in, year out. Even we've seen this team
game.
Yeah.
Because you guys have been making changes in between games a lot over the past 3-4 years when Chris Jones was trying to reestablish or try to establish the same type of thing that's going on in Winnipeg, trying to find his core. Unfortunately, this time around he didn't, and it just didn't work out. So hopefully, and you could just see the change in the team. The week after Chris Jones was gone, there was an extra half a step in everybody. And clearly, things weren't going well. The change seems to be productive. So you have a chance now. You found some players now. You've got a running back core that's fantastic right now. You do have some talent at receiver. You have talent in a lot of different places. Hopefully this is the offseason. Giroy Simon can go out on his own, make his own decisions, bring in a few more pieces that help solidify that, and hopefully the team can rally around Jarius Jackson and the rest of that coaching staff you guys have, because you can see the difference between June, July, and even now. Even in that game with Winnipeg, when the offense wasn't clicking on all cylinders, you could still see it, because you could see Rankin running hard. You could see the receivers making plays when they had the opportunities. I think Winnipeg game plan fantastic for playing against Trey Ford. They had the formula to keep Trey Ford in the pocket and make him make plays with his arm, and they were willing to give up some yards on the ground just to keep the big plays from happening. So I wouldn't get too downhearted on that on this past week. Clearly from the change you guys made this week to bring McLeod Bethel Thompson back into the starting lineup, you're looking to attack Winnipeg's defense in a different way. I don't think it speaks poorly to Trey Ford yet. It just might not be. They might not quite yet have the confidence in him to be a pure pocket passer. So they're going to try a different way of attacking Winnipeg's defense, and we'll see where that gets them next week.
Yeah, and I mean, we actually have a buzzing herd chat right now about it. We have a comment here from Calvin. Is Elks announcing in advance MBT will start in rematch against the Bombers, just giving the Bombers an advantage to tailor their game plan against MBT with plenty of notice. So asking, are they like, is this going to be a disadvantage now for the Edmonton Elks announcing that, or are they going to try to do a bait and switch with Trey Ford at the last second? Like, how would you?
I think there's two things going on here. One is a general trend in CFL defenses. It seems like there's a lot less blitzing going on this year. It seems like there's a lot more 3 or 4 man pass rushes and drop everybody else into coverage. That seems to be pretty standard across the league right now, and Winnipeg is doing that right now under Jordan Younger. An advantage Winnipeg has, though, is that they basically have 2 defensive coordinators. They have Jordan Younger and they have Richie Hall, who was the defensive coordinator for the past 5-6 years. Hall took a step down to be a consultant so that Younger could get the promotion and get the experience with Hall still in the building underneath that organization, so they can keep the wheels turning, so they can keep moving forward in the future. So if they really felt like they needed to have 2 defensive game plans, they had the manpower to be able to do that and go, okay, this is the game plan against MBT, this is the game plan against Trey Ford. I don't think they necessarily need to do that, because their game plan was pretty much the same. 3-man rush, a couple of people being spies, whereas against MBT, maybe it's a 4-man rush and one less person sitting there watching the quarterback. But the general coverage schemes are going to be the same. I don't think there's really not a lot of blitzing this year in the CFL. Their sack numbers seem to be way down. Defenses are trying to make the quarterbacks throw into blanket coverage. And I think you're seeing that there's not a lot of eye-popping numbers out there for quarterbacks. We're not seeing anybody really stepping up and saying, I'm the MOP this year. Felt like it was happening in the first month or 2 of the season in BC, but that's changed too.
Well, on the top 3 quarterbacks right now in the league are actually all in the bottom 3 teams. So Bo Levi Mitchell over in Hamilton, MBT over in Edmonton, and Jake Mayer over in Calgary.
Mm-hmm.
They all are the top three. I don't know the exact order. I think it's probably Jake Mayer at the top, or Bo Levi, because Bo Levi just had himself a good game. And the funny thing too is all of those guys were benched at some point as well.
Mm-hmm.
They all rode Pine this year, so
it's crazy. It's a weird season.
Well, in Winnipeg, they have a balanced team. Like Zach Claros isn't putting up record-setting numbers or anything like that, but the defense.
Yeah.
What we noticed at this last game was it was a defensive battle.
Yes.
Especially for 3 quarters. In the fourth quarter, Trey Ford threw SSN turning point moment interception.
Yeah. And there's always something to say about the chemistry between receiver and the quarterback, right? That Claros Oliveira connection.
Oh, yeah.
You can't really.
Well, and then
fault that, right? Like, you know that there's going to be magic in there in some ways, and we see it sometimes. We have glimpses of that with MBT and say Gittins Jr. You know, we see some of those that they're trying to find that connection, that it's just, you know, it's there, right? And sometimes you just can't compete with something like that.
No, it always works best when you have a lot of experience throwing to the same guys, and hopefully over the course of the next season or two, you know, Trey's been there, been with the team 3 years now, but the receivers keep changing, the game plans keep changing, the offense. Hopefully, a little bit of stability will help him gain some of that confidence too, and you know, they do very well in drawing up good plays for Trey Ford to be able to use his athleticism, and that's exactly what Winnipeg game planned against last week to shut down, because I could see that they were going read option a lot, where Trey will take the snap, he's looking at the defensive end, and defensive end's keying on me, I give it to Rankin, and Rankin had a ton of yards doing that. At the same time, Winnipeg was like, we're not going to let you beat us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's exactly what they did. They shut it down.
Yeah,
they shut it down.
They shut it down.
They shut it down.
But all right. I mean, we'll get more into that sadness. But switching gears a bit, the Jets, they're starting their season, which means the Winnipeg Terminal is returning with yourself and Mike Dandria. How exciting is it to have hockey back?
It doesn't feel quite real yet because it's still warm out. It's still, you know, even we dropped from 27 degrees to 20 degrees this week, but still, I haven't seen a leaf fall yet. I mean, you could take that whatever way you feel like taking that, but
except for the Toronto Maple Leafs, right? They're always falling.
What's that meme that you just go outside and just hit the Leafs just to watch the Leafs fall?
Oh, geez.
Because hockey wasn't back yet.
So corny. So when what is it? I started a fire just to boo the Flames. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
That's ours here in
We
Edmonton.
see all of those.
We see them.
Right. No, it just doesn't feel quite right yet. It's not. We haven't even had a brisk, 15-degree day yet, so it doesn't feel like hockey season's around the corner. And yet you're sitting here reading the game reports from the preseason, going, okay, hope they can figure things out. Let's, when's the real stuff start? Oh, 2 weeks from now.
Well, exactly.
Crazy.
I mean, 6-0 Jets versus Oilers. I don't think you'd ever see that in the regular season. So, of course, must be preseason only. But
knock on wood real hard.
But anyways, now that I'm jinxing it already, what can viewers and listeners expect from the Winnipeg Terminal this year for season 2?
Oh, we're just going to get back into it. I tend to bring the bomber flavor to things. Mike's a little bit more into the hockey team, so that we kind of help balance each other out there. Although I have, taken a few more steps to paying a lot more attention to the Jets than I usually do. Used to be a casual, hey, I got nothing to do tonight. Hey, is hockey on? Great. Now it's okay. What nights are they on? What am I doing the rest of the week? Okay, can I get this one in? Yeah. No, and then it's okay. Let's read the after game reports. Let's read the in between. It just went from the casual level of okay, this is fun to okay, what else can I learn about this, and how much more can I spit back out and not sound stupid?
Oh, that's fair.
That's fair.
Very
fair.
fair.
Yeah, I feel like that'd be me in a hockey podcast. I like football primarily. That's my sport. But yourself and Oz Davis you guys have been doing fantastic at the Rouge, White, and Blue as well. Where can our viewers find your shows online?
Well, they can find it basically where they find this one, either on the YouTube page, or they can find it. We have our own X account. We have my personal Facebook account that puts the shows out too, or they can just search Rouge, White, and Blue on any of their favorite podcatchers. So just about anywhere you can find your podcast. And if you can't find it on the one you're on, let me know, and I'll see if I can get it on there for you.
Dang, that's some service. That's some service. We'll get you the podcast wherever you listen. We'll get it for you. We'll get it on the podcatcher. Yeah, no, man. Once again, like Kathy said, you guys do fantastic over there. You guys are recording tonight, fresh episode of Rouge, White, and Blue, right?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, he's wondering where I am right now.
Perfect. So we're gonna let you get onward with the recording. But thank you so much for your time, Joe. I know we're gonna see you again soon, and we're definitely gonna see you on Shotgun Sports Network. So you guys have a great recording. Everybody, go check them out. Thanks a lot, Joe. Have an awesome night.
All right, you guys have a good night.
Cheers. And that was Joe Pritchard, aka Arjo. At Shotgun Sports Network. Joe Pritchard of the Rouge, White, and Blue podcast and the Winnipeg Terminal. Awesome guy down there in Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin. What's up, everybody? You are tuned into season 2 of the 2024 SD nominated show, The Elks Call, presented by Shotgun Sports Network. My name is Scout, aka the rep from Section X, and to my right is...
I'm Jason from Puck and Pigskin, and I'm happy Scout allowed a Stamps fan to bring a little red and black to the Elks Call.
Well, hey, there's nothing like two non-playoff team fans cheering on our good friend down here, Clay, from Argos Fancast. Clay, thank you so much for joining us tonight, man.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Oh, hey, we always have a stack show up ahead, but really special that you have joined us. Both of you guys, I guess, Jason, how are you doing? And Clay, aren't you excited about this upcoming Grey Cup?
I'm doing well, thank you. Growing the show little by little, and happy to be on the Shotgun Sports Network. And definitely cheering on the Argos this weekend. I can't watch the Blue Bombers win anymore.
I'm okay with that. I'm doing fantastic. Despite some of the downfalls that happened in the final, still looking forward to seeing the Argos in the Grey Cup, and they've never been to a Grey Cup in my lifetime and lost. So.
Yeah, that did. You know what? And I did see that stat. They've especially beat the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in all of the meetings, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so that's a huge stat. They got a streak to uphold. There's lots of pressure. I did see that they are underdogs. The Toronto Argonauts are underdogs going into this game against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. So, we got a lot to talk about today. Everybody's probably wondering where Kathy may be. Kathy is getting a night away from the show, which is fantastic. You can also tell that there's already a lack of production value. I forgot to hide everybody on the screen, which is hilarious. So, Kathy, I already miss you, and the show misses you. Now, getting into our show here. Actually, first, before we get into it, we want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight, whether you're watching on our YouTube, which is Shotgun Sports Network, on Facebook, which would be the Elks Herd, or if you're listening on TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Edmonton Sports Talk, or wherever you get your podcasts, we salute you. While we're here, if you could hit the like, subscribe, or favorite button, we would greatly appreciate it.
Smash it.
Smash it. All right, tonight on the Elks Call, We're going to open up with some Shotgun Sports announcements, followed by the more you didn't know with Clay. Then we're going to dig into the herd report, talking about the latest Edmonton Elks news and transactions. Following that, we'll give you an Edmonton Sports update. And then we'll cap the show with the fan forum, where we discuss hot topics surrounding the Elks, the CFL, and the sports world as a whole. Be sure to blow up the herd chat so we can get your comments and questions on to the show. All right. Some quick announcements here. These announcements are brought to you by Puck and Pigskin, where Jason brings you the latest sports news from Cowtown in Canada. Catch Puck and Pigskin every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Mountain. So yeah, once again, it's my first time producing today, so please take it easy on me. I've already flubbed up a couple times. The Elks herd will be at the 2024 Grey Cup, so come find us. Clay, you're going to have some of your people from Argos Fancast at the Grey Cup.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Doug is going to be there. He's going to be doing his tour of Vancouver. He's never been to Vancouver, so he's going to be doing a bunch of stuff on his YouTube channel. You go find him, Sir Douglas 1873. Shameless plug right there. And Will goes to, I think he goes to pretty much every Grey Cup. He's a regular there now, and on our show, he's been pushing the CFL Fans Fight Cancer event, and so that he's going to be there doing that at the Shark Club. Shark Club on Saturday night.
Perfect. Thanks for letting me know exactly what time that was at. CFL Fans Fight Cancer. We've pitched in prizes for auctions and other things like that. So CFL Fans Fight Cancer, you're probably like, I don't know, like the fifth or sixth person to come on this show and to mention that organization or of fans. So really cool. That's very, very special, Clay. Jason, are you going to have anybody at the Grey Cup?
I will not. I'm a one-man show right now, and don't hate on me, but I've never been to a Grey Cup. Never been to a Grey Cup yet, ever.
So that's what
Kate, how long have you lived in Calgary then?
Oh, I'm not in Calgary. I'm in Red Deer. I'm in Red Deer. I did live in Calgary for a few years, 2008 to 11.
You were there for the infamous 09 Grey Cup then. You could have been. You could have been to the parties.
I could have been, but I was raising little kids then, so Grey Cups weren't affordable.
Hey,
not everybody can have a wife as good as me. We had just had our second one, and I got to go out for that Grey Cup. Literally, like a month old. He was a month old, and she allowed me to go out to the Grey Cup. So
wild.
Not only that, my wife is an Elks fan or Eskimos fan, so she would never come with me unless the Elks or Eskimos are playing in it. So,
hey, 2026, okay? It could be.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
It could be Stamps versus Elks. Rick here from Tie Cats Talk Network. What up, Rick? That's okay. Jason can go in 2026, and 2026 is going to be a very big Grey Cup year for the Stamps. But
yeah, the Elks will make the crossover. The Stamps will finish first in the West.
This guy. Hey, we got a couple Grey Cups to go, including this one this weekend. So, yeah, getting right back to it here. It will be fun. Very, very excited. Make sure you flag us down. Ryan Messer here in the herd chat. What up, Ryan Messer? Don't worry, I've never been to a Grey Cup either. And you know what? Kathy has never been to a Grey Cup at all. And I've never been to a Grey Cup out of Edmonton. So we're very excited, very, very excited about this one. And I mean, we already have plans to go to 2026 now. So very, very exciting. And especially this one, I mean, I think what's funny is I've seen 4 different teams play in the Grey Cup now. And not one of them was like my favorite. It was not the Edmonton Elks playing in it, right? 2015. Oh, it seems so far away. Okay, season finale of the Elks Call will be next week. So we actually get to shut down the season for our show. We're going to be doing more of a monthly show going forward in the off season. So how that will look is we're going to have a holiday special on December 18th, sorry. So there's going to be a 3-week break in between shows. Then we're going to switch to monthly programs. So everything that comes out on a monthly basis will be more of a special, especially with free agency, any other major news that may come out as well. Just will not be the traditional format of the Elks Call. And the holiday special, we're going to be giving away a couple of facsimile autograph pieces. I am looking at a signed Ricky Ray and Gizmo William piece or two. We'll see if we give away one of those, but for now I think we do have some sweet prizes that we will be able to give away on the show. It's a holiday special for a reason. We will not be Wookiees. We will not be doing like a Star Wars holiday special. Don't worry. This will be a fun one, giving away a lot of goodies to CFL fans. Speaking of which, one less down, your package will be going out as soon as we are back from the Grey Cup, if you're listening. All right. Now let's get into the more you didn't know with Clay. So Clay, once again, really thrilled to have you on the show. We're definitely appreciative of your time tonight. For those in the herd chat or watching live, and YouTube on Facebook, get your questions and comments in now so we can get them onto the show. Clay, we like to ask all of our guests kind of the same question. In your case, what made you an Argonauts fan?
Well, I grew up a Saskatchewan Roughriders fan. I don't know if you can see this picture behind me. When we used to go back to Saskatchewan every year to visit my grandmother, we would get a picture on the field with the kids. But I've been a part of the Argos social media landscape since 2013.
Nice.
They had a group called the Argos Admirals, and I did that with one of my sons. We did all kinds of player interviews. And then when he grew out of that, I moved over to start doing the podcast. And my wife liked to tell me at that point I was turning teal. So I was going, a little bit green to blue. And I can tell you the exact moment that the switch flipped from Riders to Argos was the 2017 East Final when the Argos won. And I'm standing there looking around and just feeling the absolutely amazing energy in BMO Field and being happy. And ever since then, it was Argos first, Riders second.
Crazy.
My father has almost kicked me out of his house several times for cheering for the Argos over the Riders, but that was the exact point right at the end of the game, 2017 East Final. That was the moment that it actually flipped.
That's crazy. And I couldn't imagine picking another team. But what's funny about that is in kind of a similar way, I ended up like for CFL, it all of a sudden just became a thing. It was in my face. My former boss was on the board of directors for the Eskimos. So I said right away, I'm a Toronto Maple Leafs fan, but I kind of cheer for that team in Toronto, right? But I didn't know much about the CFL, and when it was thrown in my face, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna cheer for Toronto Argonauts. That just makes sense. I'm gonna be an Argonauts fan. So I kind of came in to the CFL saying I was gonna be an Argonauts fan, and then I went to an Edmonton Eskimos game, and I'm like, no, there's no way. It has to be this green and gold color here. The team sucked. It was 2013 Eskimos. I think they had 4 wins that season or something like that. Horrible team. The rumor around town was that you were going to watch a loss. And it was against the Riders. And because of that crowd and because of people yelling back and forth and everything else, you're whoa, okay. I think we're going to come to these games more often. So that's very, very cool.
It's kind of honestly strange when I look back at it, because Like when I was in Regina, we lived 2 blocks from Taylor Field. So I could hear the public address announcer inside my kitchen. And it's just, I've got my share in the Rough Riders. I'm an actual owner at this point.
Wow.
But the other weird thing, and I'm going to grab another thing here.
Conflict of interest.
I had that before the switch flipped. So in 1990 in Regina, before we moved to Ontario, I was at a CFLPA camp. Okay, that's me. The tiny little thing here. The guy helping me, teaching me how to snap the football, that is Jim Kardash.
Nice.
He was at the time the center for the Toronto Argonauts. So it's like when you look back at it, it's almost like it was meant to be. My kids are split. I've got one Rider fan, one Argos fan. At the time when they were born, I tried to kind of brainwash them. They came home from the hospital in Rider gear. The brainwashing worked for one. It did not work for the older one. So, and he's been an Argos fan since day one, because the minute he could tell me that he was not going to wear something, and he was 2 when he did this, he refused to wear Rider gear to an Argo game. So
that's hilarious.
Nice. So first of all, Clay, congratulations for getting away from the dark side. I actually grew up in Regina, went to tons of Rider games, and oddly enough, never became a Rider fan. I don't know, it's just weird. So are you a fan of all other Toronto teams, or who else do you cheer for?
Yeah, I've been a Leaf fan since as long as I can remember. Before we moved out here, obviously a Blue Jay fan. There was a time in my teens where, for some reason, I decided I wanted to be a Milwaukee Brewers fan. Not sure why.
Yeah,
but they make beer, so so it's got some benefits, right? And then I've once the Raptors came, I more or less became a Raptors fan. I was a Phoenix Suns fan for a long time. I still follow them when I can, but
Steve Nash,
Charles Barkley.
Oh, Charles Barkley.
When I first started watching basketball, it was, hey, that guy plays basketball like a football player. I like him. Yeah. And then it was next year he went to Phoenix. So,
oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
But pretty much all other Toronto teams I'm cheering for too. So
that's cool. Nice. That's sweet to know. I mean, here in Edmonton, right? It's hard not to be an Oilers fan. And then of course you got your Double E, and they got a lot of other sports too that are kind of rising. But when you have the Big Four in your city, you cheer for the Big Four. Ryan Messer says, really cool, dude. Very cool. Now your team has made it into the Grey Cup. We're talking about the Toronto Argonauts now. Your team has made it into the Grey Cup after last year's breakdown in the 2023 playoffs off a 16-2 record. This year, not quite as good as a record, but they made it into the Grey Cup. So what are your thoughts on this past season for the Toronto Argonauts?
Oh, it was a roller coaster of emotions. They didn't really have any decisive wins out there, but we didn't have our number one quarterback for half the season. And we're not going to have him in the Grey Cup, unfortunately. And we still managed to come out without being too far back. And there's been a lot of really close games, a lot of times where we have wondered where the nearest AED defibrillator is. But to be honest, that's the CFL this year there's been a lot of parity in this league. You've had people winning games that they shouldn't win, people losing. We lost to the Ticats 3 times. There's no way on paper that should have happened. But we beat Winnipeg twice. So
you lost off of Rouge to the Edmonton Elks to finish this season. Like,
yeah, it's all over the place. But it's been a really fun season, a really amazing season, and I think they're rounding into shape despite not having their starting quarterback at the exact right time. The defense is playing lights out, and the special teams has been an insane bright spot for the whole season, and the offense, we've got a lot of stuff that Nick Arbuckle didn't have the last time he was here in Toronto. We've got one of the best offensive lines in the CFL. We've got one of the best three-headed rushing attack in the CFL. We've got a host of receivers that were ridiculously deep, that we're getting guys that DeVaris Daniels didn't have a catch in the last game. So we're got depth everywhere. So all we got to hope that Nick Arbuckle does, and what Ryan did, what he said, is just play quarterback. Don't make mistakes. Eat the ball when you have to. But he's got everything around him to succeed in this game, and I don't see why they can't top Winnipeg. But yeah, it's been a great year all said and done, and then away from the actual football, it's been fantastic with all the tailgates we've been having. You guys will you've probably already met Ginger. He's become pretty synonymous with Argos football now.
Yeah, he was our guest judge. He ended up flying out to do the chili cook-off judge.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, he was roaming around our tailgate 2 games in a row, which is hilarious because he came out to the last one as well. And then now I'm going to see him at the Grey Cup. So I'm going to see him 3 games in a row, believe it or not. He's everywhere. And like you said, right, he is kind of synonymous with Argonauts football. But like the Argos Fancast, I mean, you guys too do an amazing job over there, and we're going to talk about that in a bit. But Jason, why don't we get back to this last game and Clay?
Yeah, so you mentioned losing your starting quarterback in the East Final. Chad Kelly, gruesome injury, broken ankle or tibia or fibula or something. Where I haven't heard yet. Actually,
he broke 2 bones in that leg. So it was the tibia and fibula. So the 2 hardest ones to break, and freak accident. Half a second later, and he gets up from that, no problem. But it was
You kind of already answered this question, but do you think this hurts your chances at winning on Sunday, or do you think it would be a lock if Chad was in the game, or is Arbuckle capable of pulling this out?
Well, if Chad was in the game, I don't think we open at 10.5-point underdogs. I don't. Chad was starting to finally fire on all cylinders, but I don't think it hurts us a ton. I mean, we're about the only thing that we're not going to have is that massive, explosive, over the top, random deep ball that Chad Kelly seems to be amazing at throwing. Because Arbuckle is not as great a deep ball thrower. He's more in the same lines as you'd put him in the category of a Ricky Ray type quarterback, without the deep ball, obviously, because Ricky Ray could do that too. But like a Trevor Harris, more of a game manager. He's going to take what you give him, and really, he's just got to keep to that. But I think our defense is going to more than make up for that. Our special team is going to make up for that. But I got to give Winnipeg their due. They've had a great defense all year as well. And the 2 games that we played them once without Chad Kelly and we won. And then we played them once with Chad Kelly and we won that one as well. But they were very tight, low-scoring defensive battles. Can we beat them? 100% we can beat them. Would it have been easier with Chad Kelly? Oh, 600% would have been easier with Chad Kelly. But that being said, we look at it like 2 points and 3 points, difference between wins there. Like it's close, but we can do it.
So then what's the score prediction? What are you predicting for a score?
On our show that we recorded last night, I predicted the Argos are going to win by 8. So I'm going to go, and I think it's going to be a little bit more high scoring than the last time that we played them in September, I believe it was. Not week 19, whatever that was. I think we're going to be looking at we'll say 27-19. How that works out, I don't know, but that's the score I'm going to go with because I said Argos by 8.
Bold. I feel like this is going to be a reel for next week when we do up the little promo for this. Hilarious. I mean, and you know what? Either you're going to be right or you're going to be wrong. I mean, at this point, I would say it's a 50-50 split. I don't care about betting odds. I don't think that stuff. I think betting odds do a little bit worse for our society at times than better. But looking at betting odds is just like looking at your fantasy predictions. The predicted score and saying, oh, yeah, I'm going to destroy this guy. Oh, yeah, I'm going to win this week. When really, I mean, anything can happen at any time. Your player that you have projected for 5 points can go for 30. This is sports, right? We've seen the Calgary Stampeders lose last second to the Toronto Argonauts. We've seen the Winnipeg Blue Bombers lose in a dramatic fashion against the Montreal Alouettes. So we've seen some crazy stuff, right? Kenny Lawler rocks MBHA here in the herd chat. What up, MBHA? We also have here from Ticats Talk Network, Rick, LOL, and Bo finishes in yards and touchdowns. LOL, very odd.
Yeah.
Third LOL. And I mean, that's also in reference to the parody we were talking about earlier. And then Ryan Messer earlier on the Charles Barkley comments. Barkley does a lot for the community around Birmingham, Alabama. Just wanted to get those herd chat comments real quick before our next question.
Just so you know, Clay, you do have history on your side. We already mentioned Argos being undefeated in the last 9 Grey Cups against the Bombers. They're also undefeated in their last 7 Grey Cup appearances. Last time they lost a Grey Cup, 1987. So you got some history on your side.
Yeah, the only outlier in there in that history against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers in the Grey Cup was in 2022 when we beat them. That was the first Grey Cup that the Argos have allowed them to score more than 9 points.
Oh, wow.
So I'm going to say that's an outlier. And we're going to go back to what we normally do, and keep them on. My prediction aside.
So Clay, who surprised you this year in the East?
You like as far as team or player?
Yeah.
As far as a team, honestly, as much as I have disliked Bo Levi Mitchell his entire career, he is extremely talented, and I was shocked that they couldn't put it together unless they were facing the Toronto Argonauts. They should have been a lot more competitive. I did not expect them to be where they were at the end of the season. I honestly expected it to be back and forth between Toronto and Hamilton, and I think a lot of lot of my friends in the Argo community did. Montreal was a little bit surprising as to how they kept that high rolling after the Grey Cup win last year. But yeah, it's a lot of parity in this league this year. So at a certain point, you kind of go, well, I'm going to throw everything out the window, and I've got no expectations anymore. But yeah, Hamilton's the way they played and the way Montreal played, those two surprised me. I thought they would be more switched a little bit. But I thought we were going to be, looking Toronto, Hamilton, Montreal. That was my preseason predictions how the East was going to go.
Crazy. And I mean, we've had Chris Timofeychuk on the show. He had, I think, Ottawa up there as like one of his bold predictions, right? So it's once again, it's that parity, and it is cool. I did think Montreal was going to maintain that dominance, but to see them go like start the season 9-0 or something, it was just they had one of the craziest seasons, and you really did think that they were going to make it all the way to the Grey Cup. But once again, this is a league and a season of predicting the really trying to predict the unpredictable, and you can't. So to see Toronto and Winnipeg here now, I think the odds were good on it, but I don't think that I had Toronto even going to the Grey Cup. So, yeah, you know what? I mean, I know I wasn't asked to answer this question, but hey, I can see like Toronto Argonauts making it to this point all the way, right?
Yeah, I had Montreal and Winnipeg in the Grey Cup.
Yeah. No, exactly. But getting back to the double blue, Jake Serezna.
Yes.
Former Edmonton Elk, former Edmonton Eskimo, somebody who's been with the Green and Gold organization here for a while. He was a Force, but unfortunately he was traded to Toronto, where he has been playing well. So what's your thoughts on Jake Serezna this year? I mean, this is really the first year you've consistently watched Jake Serezna.
Oh, he was amazing. We thought that Sean Oakman was going to be a mainstay, on in the inside of our and between him and Brinkman, and then Ralph Hawley came on, and you pushed Sean Oakman out, who is still a fantastic player, and now you've got him in Edmonton. But yeah, Jake Serezna was just a beast. Like it was like sometimes when you watch him play, it's like he's going up against people who are 2 or 3 levels below him. It's like he's going up against a Pop Warner team and just kind of showing them how things are done. But yeah, he's a beast. He does a lot of things to make a lot of other people look good too. He is, you've seen him just, bully his way into taking on 2 linemen so that somebody else could have a free shot. And it's those things that he plays away from the ball, away from going after the quarterback, that you don't necessarily pay attention to if he's not on your own team. But man, that guy does a lot to make everybody on that defensive line look good.
Jake Serezna is a beauty. I mean, he is an all-star here with the Double E, I believe multiple years in a row. But you could also tell too, there was an off season where he won up. And these last 2 years in Edmonton, he was, or the previous 2 years in Edmonton, he was absolutely crazy. So we're all too familiar with it. Pardon me. That trade with Curly Gittens Jr., very disappointing, I think, in the sense that us fans knew what we had in Jake Serezna. And I mean, he's a great character guy as well. He goes to all the events. I mean, any event that goes to Commonwealth Stadium, you'll more than likely see him there. So same deal, right? For you guys in Toronto now. I don't know if he's going to be staying over, or if he has a house in Edmonton. I don't know what the deal is, but he is a fantastic guy for the community as well.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, he's been out there on all the things that the Argos have done. They're when they do the stuff with Holland Bloor View Children's Hospital out here, they do a lot there. He's pretty much been on every social media video they've done where they've shown them in the community. He's been in that group, so
Awesome.
he's exactly what you want in a CFL player.
Yep. No, exactly.
I'm going to go a tiny bit off script here and ask you another question. CFL looking for a new commissioner, of course. I've seen Pinball Clemens' name thrown around a little bit. What are your thoughts on that happening?
I don't think he's going to want to do it.
No?
No. It would be one thing that he'd be honored to do. But I'm not sure that's his bag. He loves the Toronto Argonauts. He loves this town. And yeah, he wouldn't be going, anywhere different. He'd be going probably about 20 minutes further into downtown Toronto to the CFL offices. But I think he loves this Argonauts team too much to walk away. And when he has not been part of this team, he's been part of this team as an ambassador anyway. He is our GM, and you cannot discount the fact that if that man came to you to recruit you for the Toronto Argonauts, after listening to him, you're going to want to sign a contract right then and there.
Yeah.
You would take that Stamps jersey right off the wall, take your hat off, put on a blue hat, and you'd be right there. He could sell ice to Eskimos,
or else.
or yeah. He could sell sand to people in the desert, right? Like, it's whatever that man wants to tell you, but I just don't think that he's going to take that role.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I would probably say that if they were smart, they would put him on a hiring committee for that role, because he can read people very well too. So that might be something that I would say that he would have a part in. But as far as being the commissioner, no, I don't think he's gonna do it.
Yeah, that's fair. Now, we know you're a big fan of the CFL in general. How many stadiums have you been to, and which one is your favorite?
Well, let's see. I haven't been to technically the new Mosaic Stadium. I've been in the store, and the security wouldn't let the staff in there open up the doors to let us go in and see.
Wow.
I have never been to a game in Winnipeg, and Montreal's still on my list, but Ottawa, both the new and the old version of that stadium, the Hamilton, Old Iverwin, New, and Tim Hortons Field. I haven't been to the renovated BC Place, but I've been out there before. I've been to Commonwealth. I've been to Calgary, and obviously I've seen a lot of games at Old Taylor Field as well. So, honestly, right now, and I guess it's recency bias. I love BMO Field. I absolutely love. It's a smaller atmosphere, and the canopies that they put over they shield us, but they amplify that sound, and the energy in that stadium when that stadium gets rocking is just unbelievable. And it's one thing when we've got 14,000 fans going there, and Mike Hogan and Ben Grant, who are doing the radio call, can't hear each other, and we get 14,000 fans cheering. When you put 20,000, 25,000 in there going nuts. Like it is going to start really picking up on the TV broadcast, and the whole pregame atmosphere that we've got going. I'm a little bit biased to that because I haven't experienced a lot of the current pregame stuff everywhere else, but I love our tailgate. It's fantastic, and it's a great thing leading up to it. It's one of those things they tried to make it a team thing, and that didn't work. They lost tons and tons of money on it, and then they just let it happen organically, and it's now gotten to a point now where we've got Globe and Mail did an article on the tailgates, and interviewed our friend Ginger and some people out in Calgary and a few other places. But yeah, it's the whole lead up to that. It's just fantastic. Everybody's welcoming. Everybody wants to have fun and enjoy everything. And then you go into the game, and I'm in part of the stadium where we're absolutely going nuts. We're the ones waving the flags in the end zone all the time. We're leading the cheers. It's that, for me, that really makes it. And unfortunately, I didn't have the ability to experience that at a lot of stadiums. But I mean, I love stadiums. Period. Like I'm a nerd for that stuff. So I want to see the stadiums. I want to see the ins and outs of the stadiums. The one thing that I will say, Hamilton, all the stuff that they have, that is, the different rooms for different things, for all the staff doing there, the media, this and that, they have so much stuff that you didn't think would be possible to fit into that stadium, that it blows my mind. Like, you could probably pack 3 times the amount of people that can legally fit in that stadium into that stadium and still have room to move, except in the Coors Light bar area where you never have room to move there. But yeah, I love BMO Field. Going from Skydome, and I had a sentimental tie to Skydome. I played several games there. I was that was the first stadium that we went to in there that had the roof that moved. I had a sentimental tie to that, and BMO Field, just okay, yeah, Skydome was great, but BMO Field, I love it. I absolutely love it.
And it's funny, like with the noise thing, right? It's kind of funny because when Kathy and I were there for the 150th game, we actually got to go to that 150th. Of course, it was against the Double E. We got destroyed, and it was cool to see a Trey Ford running touchdown. But I mean, that's all that I really and the tailgate. The tailgate was the fun thing, and there really is a rise of tailgating in the CFL. We're starting to see more American type tailgates in the CFL, which is amazing. It really is a piece of the game that's been missing here in Canada for far too long. And, as you see the rise and fall of, even the teams, but then also the league itself against the NFL, which, I think we all know the history there. We used to pay our players more. Oh, the parody. But it's really cool to see what the Argonauts have done. Argos fans have done, like you said, at We Still Tailgate on X, there's all those people on there, and it's cool to see that there's like a bit of a tailgating community, not just with one team, but then of course with all the tailgaters in the league. And then to add even further to what you said there, stadiums, right? BMO Field, it has that tin box feel. The benches, it's all tinny when you're underneath. Like I was actually trying to talk to Pinball Cummins, trying to get a picture in and all that, and waiting in line, and all of a sudden all you can hear is and it's everybody just going hard, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, Toronto's got to be on defense then, because I don't think anybody's going to the double A here. That's for darn sure. But yeah, no, very, very special. I mean, I think besides Jason, who has acknowledged that McMahon Stadium is a dump, it's pretty easy to be biased about your own stadiums. I would say Commonwealth, in my opinion, is the best as well. But BMO Field, it was cool to see how it does have that it almost feels like shipping containers in a way. Like you're right by the water. It's this weird stacked up feeling. I believe I think there's parking or something like that in there as well. But just the design of it is so wild. And like you said, it's very, very loud, very noisy as well. So very, very cool. I think BMO's really, really sweet. I think it's a good visit. I think everybody should swing in and see an event at some point. If only I could find where my mouse cursor is, because we have
those smaller venues seem to be nicer, like a better experience. Like Montreal, they moved from Olympic Stadium to this tiny little stadium, and it's a great experience, I've heard. And if Calgary ever rebuilds a stadium, I hope they make it a smaller one, just a nice size.
Yeah, Montreal has been on my list to do for a long time. Like I said, I'm a little bit of a stadium nerd, so you can literally see the history right there. And I love those stadiums where like it just kind of seems like it erupted out of, like it just showed up, and just you just put it right down in between all those buildings, and they're integrating the scoreboards on different buildings, the different university buildings around there. It's definitely on my list. I love seeing that stuff. I love the old history of that. As much as I've heard it's not amenities wise, it's not a great stadium or whatever it is, but once you get out into that bowl, and I would love that. I would probably have ranked that one just visually wise right up there. But I want to go see. That's really on my list. One of these days, I'm gonna have to make the drive out to Montreal, though.
Chips and hot dogs, baby, and a couple porta potties. That's all you need to make some football fans happy. I tell you what. Okay, we do have a herd chat question here from Ticats Talk Network. With Elks, Stamps, and Argos, what is everyone's thoughts on this new report card thing coming out next month, where teams are graded on certain things for when it comes to free agency? So, I mean, I did see the article briefly. I did not read into it too much. It has been a little bit of a crazy day personally, but I mean, did any of you gentlemen, Jason or Clay, did you guys check out this report card that Rick is talking about here?
I looked into it a little bit. We did briefly talk about it on our show last night. And we talked. Okay, well, the Argos for years, like, you would probably, as far as facilities go, rank them right down at the bottom. They were, for years, they had their offices out of portables. The school portables, they had them at the U of T Mississauga campus before they burned down, and then they had their offices out of literal construction trailers for a little while. They have not had a great run of offices. Now that they're under MLSE, a lot of that is starting to look a lot better. They've got their own dedicated weight room now. They didn't have that for as long as I've known. So, and then you got the other things that we're not going to really know about is the things they're going to start grading on how they treat you for the getting up here for living wise and accommodations, and what they'll do for you, how the coaches make you feel, all that stuff, all that, and how they treat your families. That's things that people like us can only speculate. on. And you're going to have people going either way on that one. But I think it's a neat thing, and we're going to get to see some comments too from the players, because they said it's going to be pretty close to the way the NFLPA did it.
Yeah.
And that included comments from the players. And so they've already actually done this, by the way. And I believe the number of respondents back was 459 respondents back. So it's going to be an interesting thing to come out. I think the Elks, with the facilities they've got up there, the only reason that another team may rank up there is because, for whatever reason, everybody wants to drink the Kool-Aid in Saskatchewan and say that everything is the best regardless.
I mean, they do have the newer stadium, or I believe even the newest stadium in the CFL.
They have a newer stadium. They have, Edmonton has an indoor field and an outdoor field. They've got a massive weight room in there. Like, they've got everything you need. They've got all the offices there, all in one spot. Saskatchewan has that. They moved their offices back into the stadium now with the new stadium. But yeah, and they've got a decent weight room and stuff in there. But yeah, I think the the Argos will look a little bit better than everybody thought they would. But it's all subjective, really.
And I think that's exactly it, right? Like what are they going to grade on, right? I mean, like seriously, if we're going to talk about stadium, Jason, I'm not trying to pick on Little Town by the Bow, but I will say McMahon Stadium is pretty dumpy. I mean, it's going to be a lot bigger than that as well, right? It's going to be a lot about operations, I think, as well.
Yeah, and that's, I think, what they're trying to get at with this, is just to try and give people a little bit better of a picture on what organizations are like, because for a long time, the players would talk between each other and you would hear things, but they may not have been in the know on how a team is going to treat you when your family comes up to see you, right? They'll get hearsay there. Now they'll have that all in front of them to make their decision of free agency, and I think it's probably going to dictate about half of free agency, especially in this league where there's not a massive gap between pay for players, unless you're a quarterback. So they're going to want to go to situations where they feel good and they know they're going to be taken care of.
Yep.
So,
hey, pretty soon Commonwealth will have airport bathrooms.
The white walls of Commonwealth. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what they do. I mean, hey, I would say even the Grey Cup announcement recently for Calgary might have some stadium implications as well. Because
we're getting new turf.
Yeah, getting new turf for now. But yeah, Jason, I think we'll try to maybe bring that up outside of our interview with Clay, because that is actually something we could talk about for a hot minute. But we won't keep you much longer here, Clay. We know you have a podcast, and it's called Argos Fancast. So what can you tell us about your show?
Our show is really a show by fans for fans. That's why it's called the Fancast. We've got a good relationship with the other main Argos podcast, the X's and Argos. That's done by Ben Grant, who's the Argos color commentator. And we always say, okay, you want the ins and outs, you go to Ben's show. You want to sit down, have a beer, talk with your buddies, you come to our show. And that's the exact same way that Ben views our show as well, right? He usually says, when I do have a chance to listen to your show, I'm usually open up a can of beer and sitting back and enjoying it. But that's exactly what we are. We're three fans who literally kind of met just doing some of these the stuff with the Argos in the last 10 years. And, that's really what we want to be. We don't want to be anything, we're not trying to be we're not trying to change the narrative of the Argos at all. We're fans and we want to talk football, and we choose to talk Argo football and CFL and all that stuff. So
no, that's awesome. And that was my main thing in listening to your show, right? It feels like you're at the bar. It's feeling like you're, right off Gardner, busting a chill with you guys, having a cold one and talking like fans. You don't have to feel too uppity or anything like that. Really to relate, we're kind of like that over here at the Elks Call as well, right? It's more about just getting some fan-sided insight, and that's why we have a lot of fans on. Jason here is also a fan that's also on the network, and he has those kind of chats with fans as well. So it's kind of cool. I never thought we would get a Stamps fan and an Argonauts fan all on the same show, but it's been amazing. We all know you're a family man, Clay. It is a Wednesday night. 'Twas the night before Grey Cup Festival, so we won't take too much of your time. But man, we really appreciate you joining the show today. Argos Fancast, when do the episodes drop? Sorry, and where can we find it?
Normally the episodes are dropping usually either Wednesday or Thursday evenings. Depends on when our schedules allow it. And then you can let me go through my spiel because I've got it right. We are the Argos Fancast. You can find us at Argos Fancast on the social media machines, or anyway you find your friendly neighborhood podcast. Just search Argos Fancast. You can go directly to Spotify. They keep renaming the thing. They started out as Anchor.fm, and now it was Spotify for podcasts. Now it's Spotify for creators, something like that. But go Spotify, type in Argos Fancast, and you'll find us there. But apart from that, we're on all the major podcast platforms that you can do. Just type in Argos Fancast, and we're there.
Perfect. And apparently Luna has a question as well, but I don't think we're gonna let her answer. Man, this was an awesome chat, Clay. This went longer than expected, which meant obviously the conversation was fantastic. Man, salute to you and your team. We hope the Argonauts win this weekend against those pesky Blue Bombers. But most of all, man, once again, really appreciate you joining us tonight. And we hope you have yourself an awesome night. Good luck to the Go Argos.
Argos.
Go Argos.
Thanks a lot, man. We'll check you next time.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers. And that was Clay from Argos Fancast. Once again, the episodes drop Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Go check them out wherever you get your podcasts. Man, Jason, that was a good chat with Clay, man.
That was.
Oh, that was fantastic. Clay Chisholm of the Argos Fancast once again. And that will conclude another best of episode from the Elks Call Season 2. If you enjoy what you see and like what you hear, be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and favorite button. We thank you for tuning in to today's episode. Don't forget to head over to royalretros.com and use code Shotgun Sports, all caps, no spaces, to save 10% off on throwback CFL jerseys and official CFL PA merchandise. And stay tuned to Shotgun Sports Network for another episode of the Elks Call in the near future. Until then, my name is Scout, aka the rep from Section X, with the Elks Herd, and we will see you all again soon. Cheers, everybody.